Welcome back to Mission Entrepreneurship. I have Ken Kashuba with me. Now, I want to let everybody know I met this man back in 2020 during the pandemic. There's a place, Hot Springs. We've had a interview with another business owner there. And this place is just very, very special to me. I visited there my first time and actually stayed in Mountainside Cabins. I'm not sure if you were the owner yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and it just, that place felt like home, and Hot Springs just became this home away from home. Whenever I need to think about anything, whenever I need to just get away from everything, I go to Hot Springs, North Carolina. And in 2020, during the pandemic, I went up for my birthday and met Ken Kashuba. And I mean, it was one of the most just heartwarming, amazing meetings I've ever had. So much that stuck with me 4 years later, and I happened to be passing by North Carolina, and I'm like, hey, does the town need help? And this is the man and his lovely wife, Amy, who set me up in a cabin so I could actually just stay there and help. So I just want y'all to know who this man is, to me at least, but I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Yeah, Steve said my name is Ken Kashuba. Live here in Hot Springs, North Carolina. We've been out here since 2018 and never looking back. You know, we grew up in the corporate world, and now we're living on the top of a mountain, running a farm, and running a cabin rental business. So you never know what life's going to bring you.
Yeah.
Every great business begins with a bold idea. Welcome to Mission Entrepreneurship, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of extraordinary entrepreneurs who've defied the odds. Discover the relentless spirit and creative minds of those who dared to innovate and take risks. Together, we'll reveal the grit and determination it takes to achieve the unthinkable mission of entrepreneurship. If you choose to accept it.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about you. Like where did you come from, and how did you grow up, and did you see yourself as somebody who would be a farmer, or a cabin rental? I mean, did you see yourself coming to that? But yeah, just give me a little bit of background.
Never saw that coming. No, I born and raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So up in the Northeast. I'm a Yankee, and that's where I started my career. I started working in the print industry and went from working on machines to getting into the quality side of things. And a few years later, I ended up moving down to North Carolina because I used to travel a lot for the company that I worked for. And one of the companies that I would visit actually hired me. So that's how I ended up coming down to North Carolina. And I moved to the Raleigh area. And we were there until 2018. And what happened there is back in 2017, I believe it was, I was interviewing for a director's position. I was quality manager, upper middle management kind of thing, interviewing for a director position, which was a step forward in my career, and got called in to talk to the HR manager and the president of the company day after Labor Day, and got let go just like that. And never saw it coming, was completely blindsided. Me and Amy were both working at the place at the time, so I called her up to my office and we talked it through. And we're like, we'll be okay, we'll get through this. So, interviewing for a promotion and get fired. I was the first of 13 that day. Yeah.
I feel like this is leading to this special segment that I always have in this podcast, which is the moment where you're faced with the decision that's going to make the rest of your life, right? That moment of just being there and you got a decision. You either give up or keep trying, or you push forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I was really set up good because have all these qualification in RTP, in the Raleigh Durham area. So, figured land a job a couple days. So yeah, get the LinkedIn going and get that all polished up, start putting stuff out there for feelers. And I didn't even get a nibble. No interviews, no offer, no nothing, not even a nibble. So it's like, just keep on looking, keep on working through things. Ended up taking a job as a delivery person, delivering fresh produce in the Raleigh area because, had to pay bills. So you got to do something. And still looking for that corporate job. Then stopped doing that and ended up working part-time for a antique furniture finisher and repairing. So he would take antique furniture, repair it, and refinish it. And I was hired as a delivery person. So I would take the pieces of furniture or pick up the pieces of furniture, either deliver them or pick them up. But because I was really good at working on the furniture itself, he actually hired somebody else to do the delivery work, and I just stayed in the shop the whole time. So learning how to refinish wood and all that. And, and still looking for that corporate job. Then finally, Amy said, well, find something we could do together. I'm like, okay, we'll find something we could do together. And ended up looking, thinking a diner, pizza place somewhere in the Raleigh, Durham area, and ended up finding a property down in Franklin, North Carolina, which is the most southwest corner of North Carolina. And we looked at that property, and it was a cabin rental business. And when I showed it to Amy, she was like, no, we're not doing that. 5 minutes later, she emails me back. She goes, why not? So off we go. We go to Franklin, ended up looking at this property and, loved it. Loved the setup and everything about it. But the way, people used to keep books, there was a lot of stuff under the table, a lot of stuff, on the books or off the books. So we weren't able to make ends meet, come to an agreement of what the terms were. We qualified for the best loan we could business wise, but never could come to it. And we told them, I said, we're moving west, period. And it doesn't matter if it's your property or somewhere else. So we ended up looking at 2 other properties in Western North Carolina. Then ended up coming out here to Hot Springs for the first time ever. It was a gray February day and instantly fell in love with Mountainside. We stayed in cabin 3 for the first night that we came and toured the property the next day. And we said, that's where we're moving to. We prayed over it and said, that's it. So, and here we are.
That's awesome. The other cool thing is one thing I've noticed from staying there before y'all had it to staying there recently, that there was so much extra stuff in the cabins that that took away from the entire experience. And I gotta say, when you took the TVs out, that has to be like one of the best ideas ever, because you get to enjoy the outdoors. You're not getting distracted. Right. And it's really, really awesome to also tell, like, when you stay in these cabins, about how much y'all stick by your values and morals.
Yeah, we really do. And it's not, what's the best way to put it? I mean, it's how we're led. When we moved here, we put everything in the hands of the Lord, and we said, we're going to make this place, especially for Him. And yeah, first thing we did, we took out the TVs, because who goes to the mountains to watch TV? If you have to fall asleep to Fox News, that's not my issue. But we say Mountainside is your place to unplug, but it's also a place to connect with each other, connect with the Lord, if that's who you believe in, but really connect to what this place in this area is. And yeah, we pray over it. That's all we want for this mountain. is for people to come out here and experience it, you know. And I think it shows.
So you bought the property in 2018, and then tell us the journey, because I know that you have a farm now on there, like fully functional farm, and there's just so much to offer, and there was the honey, food, eggs, like you could go stay in these cabins and just get one with nature and never have to leave until you leave.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, why would you also visit a farm and not enjoy some of what the farm has to offer? You know, when we bought the place in 2018, you know, the cabins needed a lot of work, so we invested a lot of that. I was still working a full-time job because I had to get a full-time job in order to qualify for everything. So I was commuting an hour each way to Asheville until 2020. Amy was working at a nature school, and she wanted to get chickens. So in 2019, we actually closed in our back barn and made a chicken coop. And I said, Amy, if you want chickens, they're your chickens. I want nothing to do with the chickens. So she's like, okay, I still want chickens. So she got the chickens, and that's how it started. Then life continues, and the chickens continue to multiply. Now, don't ask me how chickens just kind of show up, but they do. You go from 6 to 30 like a blink of an eye. You don't know how it happens. But when 2020 happened and the world shut down and got stupid, we were like, okay, what's next? So we started really looking at, you know, the farm life, and then the world opened, and, you know, we started getting very busy. So we started offering farm meals, you know, so it was a chicken with potatoes and carrots, and, you know, something that's a guest could take down to their cabin and cook. Well, that took off like gangbusters. I mean, so we started running out of roosters real fast. Then we ran out of friends with roosters really fast. And then after that, we're like, okay, well, we've got to find a way to grow chicken and grow it fast. So that's how we got into really the meat side of chicken raising. It's a whole different animal than an egg layer, believe it or not. So we got that going, and ever since that, we never looked back. In 2020, it was August of 2020, I actually stopped working corporate because things were changing so much. I'm very old school. People I worked with were not. So there was a clash there. So came to an agreement with those who were my bosses and owners, and they let me go. And, you know, so I started farming full time, and now we have chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys, and sheep. Yeah, a couple goats too, but we don't talk about the goats too much. We occasionally raise pigs too, so, you know, pretty much everything you could think of. We don't have cows because we're not allowed, but, you know, everything else.
Yeah. So that's awesome. The thing that I want to back up on and touch on is even though you found the business, you got the loan, you figured it out, but you still had to work, and so did Amy.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to really, really hone in on. I remember my first business that I ever built. There was a moment where I made a lot of money very, very easily. And people would tell me like people will look at business owners and think like they're just lucky, or they're just made of money, and they just have the only reason why they're successful is because they just have money. And the thing is that first business, I made a lot of money this one time, and I was running that business full time, and people looked at me and said, must be nice and stuff like that. But then I was like, y'all didn't see me working full time as a Porsche technician and turning wrenches nonstop, using all my vacation times to go to conventions to get my name out there, all my weekends to film, all my no, everybody only sees the tip of the iceberg. So I just want to really, really let that out there. Like, sometimes you got to just get a job and build your dream on the side. Like, not do it all at the same time.
Yes. No, I mean, honestly, because when things took off, and I had to stop working that full time, I really didn't have a choice either because things were just so crazy. But if things stayed the way they were, I'm sure I'd still be employed because the way this market is, it's a volunteer, not volunteer, but vacation. So people are coming in touring. They want to see hot springs and they want to see Western North Carolina. So it's a very tourist driven business. And when things opened up and people wanted to see things out of the nature, yeah, we got super busy. But as that dwindles down and the economies change and people's vacationing styles change, well, that also impacts our business. So as people are taking, your bigger cruise vacations or your bigger resort type vacations, well, they forget about the small businesses, so you always have to have something else going. We're business owners. Yes, we have vacation rentals. We also run a farm, which is another business. I actually do have a part-time job outside of here. It's taking care of our church, but it's not really a job. It's a gift. But so there's always got to be something else going on. You can't have just the one thing, because if you rely on the one thing, you're just setting yourself up for failure. At least that's what I believe.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's actually, I had someone else on here recently who said, he said, make products. I believe this is how it went. Make products or services for the people, not people for the products and services you offer. Like don't be trying to find people for your products and services. Make products and services that are for the people, and
Right.
and they'll find you. And when you deal with a tourist economy and situation like that, and especially with the changing waves and everything, you have to have those extra things on the side to back you up. Like one thing that we're planning on doing is a service package for just people who've already been on solar, but they don't realize you got to clean your panels like once a month. Like we'll just do a service package. We just come out there, we clean it, we service it, we make sure that you're good to go once a month.
Awesome.
And to have that is it's the same thing with just having these little side things. We're not engineering and designing anything, but we're cleaning stuff up. It's a way to keep everything flowing.
Right.
And that's I just wanted to point that out, that's something that's really, really big for business owners to do. And then the pandemic, what you were saying, the pandemic happens and you said that, hey, if that didn't happen, you might still be working a full time, right?
Right.
And so that's another thing we're going to touch on a little bit later, is how something that is seemingly bad, that really, really hits hard, is sometimes the grounds for something great later. And it's tough to see in the moments, but it's those beautiful moments where you find your pivots that just make your life so much more better than you could have imagined it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, you were talking about the foods and stuff before and having the other thing, and even with the farm, going from the pandemic opening up to, where we are now, let's even say just a year ago, we were offering so many different things to our guests, the meals, actually take and bake items, like lasagnas or meatloaves or, chicken stir fry, things like that, because I eat a lot. So Amy cooks a lot. So, we were packaging so that we could freeze it and give it to our, sell it to our guests. Plus, farm fresh eggs, so we always have eggs on hand, and, I make my own bacon. So we usually don't offer the bacon, but sometimes we do. But, nothing like a, fresh scrambled eggs straight from the farm,
Yeah.
So
those are some of the best eggs, by the way.
they
Those eggs
really
are
are.
so good.
Yeah.
So, now get into my next thing. So you buy it, you started the farm, everything's was going absolutely great, and then Hurricane Helene happens, and we spoke in another podcast with another business owner about how that just devastated the community. And basically, as vulnerable as you're willing to be, could you tell us what that was like and kind of give us your story of, because people like me, I had no idea till I got there, until I saw it with my own eyes. And a lot of people don't understand that about what exactly happened. You know, people see things on TV and it's like, okay, well, looks like Hurricane Katrina a long time ago, but people just brush it off because it's not in their backyard. It's not in their reality. And I promise you, once you step into that reality, it's insane. So if you could tell us a little bit about your story on Hurricane Helene, what happened and how everything was affected, and also about the type of help that you've gotten from FEMA or anything like that.
Okay. So yeah, talking about another pivot point with the tourist industry is, you know, the weather event of Hurricane Helene. Yeah, we're here in Western North Carolina. It's we live in Hot Springs, and the town of Hot Springs was decimated. So the rain started actually the day before the hurricane hit, and you know it just started raining, and it was just like a normal rainy day. Um, I think we got more rain before in our particular area the day before the hurricane, and then when that hit, it was dumping. I don't remember, you know, how many gallons of water they said. I think it was the storm dumped 2 days worth of what goes over Niagara Falls. So imagine that 2 days worth of Niagara Falls falling in rain in a day. That's what I was told. I don't have any facts to back that up. But so the area in the mountains just started washing down into the tributaries, all the creeks and the little streams and everything like that. So everything just started flooding at that point. We have a little creek that runs down the side of our paved road that leads to our road, and that came up so fast and so violently. I've never seen anything like it before. We drove down to the bottom of our road, and when you look at our neighbor's house across the street, he's probably about 20 yards from this creek that sits down about 6 feet, you know, from his ground level. And the water from that little creek made it to his porch in no time whatsoever. So we were actually heading out to see what was going on. And as we we're driving down what is Paint Rock Road, everywhere there's a creek bridge, it's all coming over. So this little tributary, this little stream cuts back and forth left and right as it's coming down alongside the road. And every twist and turn is where it was coming out of the banks. Then we get out to 2570, and it comes down the side of 2570 before it comes down our road. And it was actually coming out of the banks out there and actually coming onto 2570. So at this point, we're like, we may not even make it back to the house. So, but we continue to head into town. And we get into town, and by the time we got to town, the water was already from the creek, from Spring Creek, it was already up to the businesses. So one building was already taken out at the bridge. The tavern's porch was gone. And, you know, it just came up so fast. There was no way for anybody to even prepare for it. Then when we came back to the house, we did make it back to the house. And, you know, we're getting phone calls from other people saying, well, what's going on with the neighbors that live down by the river? We're like, we don't know. As far as we know, they weren't in there. But then all of a sudden we heard rescue vehicles And so we go down to the bottom of our road, and yeah, they're getting ready to do swiftwater rescues. So I'm down there on my side by side, and they're saying, "Can't?" They asked me if I could take my side by side over the mountain to get people out from the other side because they couldn't get swiftwater, so they could focus doing the swiftwater for the people that were in the houses. And I was actually pulling people out over the mountain with my side by side. I think we brought up about 12 people on my little side by side, so it was about 4 or 5 trips. But yeah, I mean, hot springs, the water coming through the buildings, coming through the windows, it just backed up so bad because what happened was that the trees actually started landslides. And so the trees go down in the river, then they hit the bridge, and everything just backs up, and there's nowhere for the water to go but out. And yeah, it tore everything apart. And then on the other side, because the train tracks go through town, on the other side is the French Broad River. And that came up and out of the banks. I think they said it hit 40 feet, if I'm not mistaken, in flood stages, I think 12. So, yeah, that was, you can't put into words just how violent that water was. It didn't take out that bridge, thankfully, but it did take out, and we're still dealing with issues with River Road because it undercut so much. And you still can't get through all the way down River Road from one side to the other because it's not there anymore. It actually redistributed lands. People that had property, it's no longer there because the river cut a new path. And so many people are dealing with loss of property, loss of life, loss of business, loss of, you name it. So, and it's not just Hot Springs, it's also Marshall, it's also Burnsville, it's all of Western North Carolina. So, and we know it's not in the news anymore, but it's our reality, and yeah, FEMA is here. They are staged at the library, but are they doing anything? I really can't say. We haven't received anything. We don't plan on receiving anything either. And because our business we didn't receive physical damage, even though we have to be shut down, or it's the right thing to do to be shut down, because who goes to a tourist community to not tour? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, so we have cabins available for, if people want to come and volunteer and help, like y'all did. And it's just come stay at the cabin, volunteer in town, help them out, because the sooner they get back up and running, hopefully the soonest we could get back up and running too. Yeah. But that's not going to be for a long time. Maybe some of it might come back by spring. I know the brewery is looking to be open on Christmas, because that's their anniversary. So they're always going to be open on Christmas no matter what. And then I think the pizza place is hoping to be open by the 1st of the new year, but it's all wait and see.
Yeah. I just spoke with another business owner, and he said that FEMA is denying businesses. So even if you did have physical damage, he said that FEMA is routing all the businesses to the SBA. So you got to take on a bunch of debt, and they have a disaster relief loan that they'll defer the interest for like the first year. But basically you take on a whole bunch of debt to like rebuild and all that stuff. So like what I wonder is just like where's the money going? Because they're talking about the 750, but everybody I talked to 3 weeks into this hasn't even seen that 750 or any help.
No.
And yeah, it's a little bit frightening, honestly. Especially like they're scared about there's a whole bunch of stuff that I like looked into with it, we went to Marshall too, and like Marshall is this beautiful historic town, and it it was just wiped through. The whole town was just like everything, all the glass broken, buildings. There in Hot Springs, I saw brick walls getting blasted through because, like you said, everything builds up on that bridge, and then the water would just fly out, come down, dig holes, and just smash through buildings like a bulldozer.
Yeah, the power of water is amazing to watch. It's also terrifying to watch too, but you know, just the force behind it when it starts cutting through and hitting and breaking things apart, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically Hurricane Helene happens, and now the town's like torn to pieces. Could you tell me what it was like, especially like when we're talking about pivot points, and even just as a business owner, what it was like, and also personally, but what it was like that first day when after it's over, like,
Wow. Yeah, that first day you go in and you look and you see, and I don't know if there's words for it, to be honest with you, Steve. Um, because everything that everybody's worked for is gone. You know, it's not just gone, but it's also buried in this mud that stinks and all this broken. You feel broken. I guess that's a good way to put it. Um, just like the town is. You know, you go in and you see that and you experience that, and you know, you just, not only for yourself, but not even really for yourself at all. It's for everybody else, because you know their dreams and what they want to do, because they love this town too. I mean, they wouldn't have businesses here. They wouldn't have homes here if they didn't. You know, so you're just seeing all these people with all these broken dreams now that, you know, the next day the resiliency kicks in. They're like, no, this ain't going to beat us. You know, so they started banding together and cleaning stuff up and grabbing shovels. I'm talking hippies and hillbillies working side by side. You
that's the
know,
quote that I've been telling everybody, by the way. I've taken that from y'all. I've told everyone about. That's how I described Hot Springs. I just had to say that right quick, but please continue.
yeah, no, that's cool. No, I mean, and seriously, because you know, and so hippies and hillbillies don't generally get along. You know, we all love each other, but you know, there's big divides there. And then you have the implants like myself versus what I like to say the inbreds. They're born and raised here. You know, so they're the locals that have been here. There's usually a lot of friction there too. But you know, when with all this going on, folks are actually getting along together. Um, they're not talking about their political differences. They're not talking about their religious differences, because it doesn't matter when it boils right down to it. You know, we're all Appalachian now, and we're all here, and we all are working together side by side, and we're going to get this done. You know, mountain folk take care of mountain folk. We were cut off from everybody else. There was no communication. There was no power. There was no way out anywhere. You couldn't go either direction of 2570. You couldn't get anywhere. So yet everybody was relying on each other to get things done. You know, all of a sudden there's a guy driving a tractor in town pushing mud. Um, one of our friends' sons who does equipment, big equipment, you know, they showed up with an excavator. So here they are. They start digging stuff out, and you got people, you know, working in their buildings, you know, the different owners, you know, gathering people, you know, their staff, because, you know, a lot of restaurants. So the people that they were able to work, you know, they were, you know, suiting up and booting up and, you know, starting to clean up the messes. And seeing everybody work together was one of the biggest miracles out of this, I'd like to say, because like I said, before this event happened, it would never happen. and it's still happening to this day. And what are we on day 50 or something like that?
Yeah.
So
I didn't show up till 3 weeks after it even happened. And I mean, the destruction was like devastating, but let me tell you, that trip has given me so much hope in humanity and in America. And it was the most American thing I think I've ever seen. Was the and it just reminds me, like, you know, like 9/11 happened and people were like, we need a 9/11 for
mhm.
people to come together. But just Hurricane Helene and how devastating that was, just to bring people together is an amazing thing. And the energy that we felt while we were there hanging out with everybody, just the love, just it's like you're looking, like I was brought to tears. I'm looking at just how destroyed this place is, and just how much it took. And I'm looking at all these people that are like they got to deal with this. Like, we're gonna go back to Arizona, but these people have to deal with this. Like, they have to get it up.
Yeah.
And then but then I see everybody smiling. I see everybody laughing. I see everybody like cooking food for each other, and all these people that were just having, and it actually became a really fun experience. They called Carly the culture keeper because she was cleaning all the classic toys from that tavern, you know.
That's awesome.
But,
Excuse me.
but yeah, so how are y'all doing now? How's everything? How's your business? How's the town? How's everything coming along as of now?
So we'll start with the town. You know, a lot of people, they're still digging out, still rebuilding. I don't want to say digging out, but you know, they are in the rebuilding phase. You know, they're, you know, putting in flooring, they're putting up walls, um, moving forward that way. You know, Gentry's Hardware, the different restaurants are all moving forward. Uh, the businesses that weren't hit, they're all open and running as normal, um, which is a good thing because, you know, at least there's some commerce in town. Um, Jobs are still scarce because, you know, with so many businesses being taken out, both in Hot Springs and Marshall, you know, so there, you know, jobs are tough right now, so work is tough. Um, Here on the mountain, the farm is still rocking and rolling. We just put our last batch of meat birds in the freezer, which is always a good thing. We do about 200 birds a year. So the last group went into the freezer. We have Thanksgiving coming up, so we have some turkeys that we're going to be processing and selling out, which is always nice. Um, but the cabins themselves, as far as vacation rentals, they're not right now. So yeah, it's another hard pivot point because we're trying to figure out what's the best thing to do for not only the mountain but for the community at large. So we've offered some long-term rentals to people. Right now, we have 3 of our 5 cabins booked long-term. Um, and they're welcome to stay as long as they want. Uh, but we do have 2 other cabins, and we'll probably try to fill one more with a long term and keep one cabin, our largest cabin, more for, you know, if people want to come in and volunteer, or if, you know, somebody has family visiting, or, you know, maybe the occasional rental here and there for folks. But, you know, the big picture is, you know, Mountainside Cabins is kind of closed right now. Um, Still got a mortgage to pay, so working on that aspect.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's to close down your bread and butter business and service to the community is huge, though. That's amazing. And it's one of those things where, you know, you're called to do something, and it's like, okay, well, tourist isn't really happening right now. Let's help out the community, because the sooner the community gets up, the sooner the better. Where can people help out with you and your business, and give back to you to help out with the cabin rentals and keeping y'all afloat as you work through this part of like this era that you're
Right.
going.
I mean, you can always, go to the website. It's mountainsidecabins.com. We have contact information there and explaining everything that we're going through as far as, vacation rentals and things of that nature. You could also reach out, you could get our email address off of there and our phone numbers. We do have, Venmo and things of that nature. If people want to make a monetary donation, virtually stay a night, something like that. Or if you want to help out, with some farm donations, uh, you know, Amy's actually putting together an Amazon wish list. Somebody gave us that. My sister gave me that idea a couple days ago. It's like we don't really want for anything, but we understand people would rather give something physical than monetary. So we're looking at that avenue. Um, and then for the town of Hot Springs, hotspringsrecovery.com, and anything you're looking for donations wise there, to volunteer there, that would be the best place to start. And that's once again, it's hotspringsrecovery.com, to volunteer or make donations there. Here, if you want to buy a dozen eggs for somebody, we could do something like that. Say, somebody sends us $5, we could give a dozen of eggs to somebody who needs it. Little things like that, find somebody who is worse off than we are and see what you can do to help them. Because, the better everybody else is in this area, the better off we all will be,
It's one thing I've noticed a lot with everybody I've met in Hot Springs this when we came out there last month is y'all are also so humble. Every person speaks about what others need, and that's something I noticed that's like universal there. It's like everybody's focused on helping someone else, and it comes together as everybody just helping everybody.
yeah.
And also when it comes to the Hot Springs website, that website is it's verified links, right? Because I want to make sure that everybody knows that I believe that every single thing on that website for donations are verified, that it will go to the right place. It's
Yes.
not some nonprofit that's trying to soak up the money. It's everything will go to the right place if you go to that website.
Correct.
What was the
it's
website?
not the website again is hotspringsrecovery.com. So yeah, and that goes directly to the folks of the town. And the different businesses do have their own GoFundMe's. So like if you're a fan of Big Pillow Brewing, you could go onto their website and find their GoFundMe, or the tavern, so you can go onto the tavern's website and do it, find their GoFundMe. Same with Vast Riviere, you know, that's probably the best way to do it. Go to the businesses that are near and dear and find their GoFundMe.
And also, I want to let everybody know that helping out Ken and Amy with Mountainside Cabins will always also go to the community, because everything I know about these two is everything's about the community. It's the most selfless people that I've met in my life. It's amazing, and it always warms my heart to see you, to talk to you. And me and Carly also made a plan. We take one vacation that we take every single year. And well, I mean, this is our first year together, but this is the first year that we did it, but we're planning on doing it. But we go to Georgia, and it's that's kind of what brought us close to y'all. And I think that what we're gonna do is from now on, whenever we go to Georgia for our vacation in October, we're gonna always decompress from that out at Mountainside Cabins. And another thing I want to touch on is you said it earlier about people don't really realize these small businesses. And when people are putting their money towards a vacation from a conglomerate who maybe because they own 50 cruise ships or something like that, they're able to make the prices affordable, which I understand everybody's in a tough economy right now. But if you really want to help the economy, put your money where into small businesses, because even if it's a little bit more expensive, that money stays in the community. It stays there. You're helping keeping people's dreams alive. But also on the other end too, Ken is amazing at pivoting and figuring out the next step and the next things. And let me tell you, from the first time I was there in 2020 to coming there a month ago, like, it's so cool to just see all the extra stuff and all the things that you guys have just built and added on, and the farm, and it's amazing. And then y'all had a cat that would not leave us alone. The cat became our friend, just hung out on the porch waiting for us to get home.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's Panda Boy. Yeah, he likes people down there. So no, it's like you were saying, just about everything that's here now. I mean, and that's we're not. I'm going to throw that out the P word. We're not preppers, but we do live a very prepared lifestyle. So when the power went out and the phone lines went down, we were still okay. We had our water, we had our food. We still had food walking around the front pasture. That if it really got bad, well, we're eating them today. So it's just something to think about. For anybody out there in the audience, how long can you go when the power's gone, and how much do you have in your reserves for if something does happen? We thought we were really prepared for something like this, but we found a lot of holes that we're currently working on. I'm just going to say, if you want to see where your holes are for anything like this, go camping for a weekend. Take everything you can with you when you go camping, and that'll actually show you what you don't know. So I think that's a great place for people to start if they're worried about things that might happen.
That was amazing. That's great advice right there. That's something I would definitely suggest for people.
Yeah.
And I got to say it though too. You can also call Arizona Off-Grid Solutions to kind of help you get all set up on your property. So I mean, I had to say that. I was listening. I was like, this is exactly what we try to help with, and that's but that's. Yeah, I think that we need to end on that. Like, that was great. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Ken. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and I plan on having you on here again because you're just a great guest, and I really, really enjoy hearing what you have to say.
Well, thanks, Steve. I appreciate you having me. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, we should do it again, definitely. This is good.
All right. Thank you.
All right, brother. You take care now.
Yeah, I'm excited for seeing the property and seeing Hot Springs in a year.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be amazing. We're going to probably go talk to all the same people and everything, and then just get updates over the last year. And it's, like I said, I met so many just awesome people there. That was the hard part about leaving, is you're like, man, I got to go back out to this cruel world where everybody's dick and mad at you, and like, I don't want to leave here because everybody's like, come on, you want to eat, you want that, yeah, and everybody's waving.
Oh yeah, your family.
Yep.
It's what happens. You become family really quick.